You become the magnet when you stop behaving like metal filings. People chase what sits still, because stillness feels like certainty in a panicked world. Machiavelli would tell you that dependence is a leash. Others wrap around your throat. Cut the leash, and you become the dog that no collar can claim. Everybody wants leverage, but nobody wants to be honest about wanting it. Greediness hands leverage away like a gift wrapped in apologies and sweat. Independence steals leverage back with the quiet of a locked jaw and steady breath. You are most desirable when you could walk at any moment without trembling. Scarcity is not a trick when it is the truth of your inner supply. When your self-respect is abundant, your availability becomes scarce without performance. People pay more for the water that is far from their thirst. When you stop knocking, doors suddenly learn how to open by themselves. The room calculates your price from the way you value your time. You signal worth by how slowly you bend and how rarely you ask. A prince shows power by granting favors, not begging for them. You are not a beggar of affection. You are a sovereign of attention. The market for your presence rises when your presence is priced like a luxury. Luxury is not loud. It whispers and lets the crowd lean in. You do not chase the echo. You become the voice. The echo repeats. Silence is the most expensive cologne in the game of status. You speak rarely. Every syllable arrives wearing a crown. You answer slowly. Your pauses become velvet ropes. People wait behind. A text that is not urgent does not deserve an urgent reply. Urgency is the religion of the unprepared. Calm is the creed of the prepared. You prepare by building a life that functions beautifully without applause. A life that functions without applause will paradoxically earn standing ovations. You do not punish disrespect with rage. You punish it with indifference. Indifference is the tax they pay for mispricing you in the past. Those who tried to discount you will discover the surcharge of your absence. Absence stretches the imagination until it snaps back as desire. Presence used poorly breeds contempt. Presence used wisely breeds demand. Your calendar is a throne room. Not everyone receives an audience. Grant audiences for value, not flattery, and value will multiply. Flattery is counterfeit currency. It buys nothing durable from your treasury. Do not confuse attention with allegiance. Attention is a tourist. Allegiance is a citizen. Collect citizens around your mission, not tourists around your mood. A mission is a fortress because it gives others something to defend. People want to belong to excellence more than excellence wants to belong to people. Excellence is magnetic because it does not beg, it builds. Build routines that would continue working if your phone died for a week. A man whose mornings are fortified cannot be conquered by lunchtime politics. Wake, train, learn, make, and protect the first hour like a citadel. The person who owns their first hour owns the hours of others. You do not need permission to craft a life that embarrasses excuses. Your work should make your inbox a supplicant, not your master. When you are impossible to distract, you become irresistible to respect. Respect is the shadow cast by self-respect when the sun is high. Self-respect grows in the soil of small promises kept without witnesses. Keep promises to yourself until your character hardens like a blade. A blade does not ask the whetstone for compliments, it asks for friction. Friction is how you learn which desires are decoration and which are steel. Learn to sit with hunger without advertising it like a circus. The wolf, who does not whine, eats by strategy, not sympathy. If you reveal your cravings, others will pull you by the tongue. Hide your cravings inside standards, not inside lies. Standards are fences around your dignity, and only gates you control. You do not need to declare boundaries. You enforce them with behavior. If you always explain, you admit your rules are negotiable. If you quietly leave, you teach that your rules are real. Every invitation is a test of your discipline disguised as generosity. Say no more often than you say yes, and your yes will gain crown weight. A cheap yes creates expensive consequences. A costly no creates priceless respect. Machiavelli would remind you that mercy without power invites rebellion. Be merciful after you are respected, not before you are respected. Kindness without spine is charity for predators. Kindness with spine becomes a sanctuary for the worthy. You are not intimidating. You are simply unwilling to subsidize nonsense. People confuse your refusal to kneel with cruelty, because groveling is fashionable. Your detachment is not punishment, it is policy. Policy is how you protect the empire of your focus from the barbarian of distraction. Distraction will sell you cheap thrills at the cost of royal time. Royal time is invested, not spent, and it compounds reputation. Reputation grows like interest when silence keeps you from paying attention. Taction tax is owed by those who fight every skirmish instead of winning the war. Win the war by choosing the battleground where you are strongest. Choose arenas that reward preparation more than they reward charisma. Charisma can open the door. Competence owns the house. If you can be bought with compliments, someone will buy you and resell you. Price yourself in impact, not in praise, and the market will correct. The market always discovers truth after it exhausts illusions. Make truth easy to verify in your craft and impossible to negotiate in your values. Values are the guardrails that keep your ambition from crashing into betrayals. Ambition without guardrails is a parade to the cliff. Ambition with guardrails is a road to a city where you are mayor. A mayor does not beg citizens to stay. He builds a city they hate to leave. Build systems, not scenes. Scenes fade when applause ends. Systems wake up before you and work while you sleep. Sleep like a sovereign because you arranged your kingdom to run without midnight drama. Drama is free to enter and expensive to exit. Charge admission for your energy, and you will meet fewer clowns. Stop auditioning for roles in other people's plays. Write your script, direct your scenes, and cast by standards, not loneliness. Loneliness will propose terrible treaties in the name of company. Company that costs your peace is treason against the crown of your mind.
Peace is not emptiness.
Peace is a full schedule of meaningful silence. Silence is where you hear the strategy whisper that noise drowns.
Strategy says to offer value first to yourself and then to the world.
Value offered to yourself is discipline, competence, and clean living. Value offered to the world is useful work, honest service, and art with backbone. Backbone is how beauty stops being fragile. Fragile beauty pleads to be handled. Strong beauty dares you to approach, dare others with standards, invite them with warmth, bind them with reliability. Reliability is the romance language of serious people. Serious people do not fall in love with your potential, they invest in your habits.
Habits are your real biography.
While the world argues about your press release, make your habits ruthless to weakness and generous to growth. Ruthless to weakness means refusing the stories that excuse lazy decisions. Generous to growth means forgiving yourself once and trying again forever. Forgiveness without improvement is an alibi. Improvement without forgiveness is a cage. Choose the third path, where you learn quickly and forget slowly. Forget the insults, remember the lessons, and publicize neither. Let your revenge be a calendar full of finished work. Finished work makes your enemies look like unpaid marketers. They will whisper about you while your results shout. Shouting results are sweeter than shouted arguments. Argue less with words and more with outcomes. Outcomes convert doubters into applicants and critics into historians.
Historians write about those who acted like they did not need a biography.
You do not need a stage to become a phenomenon. Phenomena become stages because people build them around gravity. Gravity is the silent force of a person who knows where they are going. Know where you are going by making a plan that survives boredom. Boredom kills more empires than failure because boredom murders consistency. Be the kind of consistent that makes luck look scripted. If it is repeatable, it is teachable. If it is teachable, it is scalable. Scale the behaviors that generate freedom and starve the ones that generate panic. Freedom arrives when your future depends more on your habits than on their moods. When your future is habit-powered, other people's storms become scenic weather.
You keep traveling while they keep forecasting. Travelers do not debate the landscape, they navigate it.
Navigation requires maps, compasses, and checkpoints, not applause. Your checkpoint is a weekly review where you audit cravings and cull noise. Cull noise like a gardener who loves flowers more than he fears weeds. Weeds are invitations to sharpen your shears. Sharpen your shears every Sunday by planning a week that frightens your excuses. The weak that frightens your excuses attracts the people who respect storms. People who respect storms will ask to sail with you. Let them aboard if they bring skills, ballast, and quiet. Skills keep the ship efficient. Ballast keeps egos from capsizing it. Quiet keeps focus holy. Holy focus is not sterile. It is sacred because it feeds many. Feed many by feeding yourself first with competence and calm. Calm is the most attractive aura in a frantic marketplace. Frantic people project scarcity. Calm people project surplus. Surplus draws signatures on deals and vows in relationships. When you bring surplus, others bring their best to avoid embarrassing themselves. Emotional surplus lets you love without begging and partner without pleading. In love, you do not chase, you choose. Choice is slower than chase because it interviews character, not chemistry. Chemistry without character is a fire without a fireplace. Character without chemistry is a house without a spark. You want sparks inside stonework, not bonfires on straw. When you can leave, you can love cleanly. Clean love is iron affection wrapped in velvet respect. If respect is missing, affection becomes an auction. Do not bid at auctions where the auctioneer ignores your standards. If your standards are too high for the room, leave the room. The right room will call them normal and call you early. Arrive early to rooms where greatness is the dress code, not the theme. In those rooms, your independence will be assumed and admired. Independence is the handshake they feel before your hand arrives. Your handshake is your gaze, your posture, your pace, your edges. Walk like your schedule is a runway and your commitments are engines. Engines announce themselves without shouting. They hum with inevitability. Be inevitable by making progress so steady that detours feel trivial. Inevitability is a story others tell about you. When your momentum outlives obstacles. Momentum is the dividend of 1,000 private victories. Private victories are the chores you complete when no applause is possible. Chores make champions when they are executed like ceremonies. Ceremonies elevate the ordinary until the ordinary becomes legendary. Legend grows when results explain what mystique refuses to answer. Mystique is not faked. It is the residue of disciplined privacy. Privacy keeps your hunger from being bait and your plans from being prey. Tell the world what you've shipped, not what you're scheming. Schemes look weaker in daylight because daylight asks for deadlines. Deadlines turn fog into brick because brick must be stacked on time. Stack bricks daily until people cannot tell where the day ended. A wall becomes a fortress when your pattern is visible from space. From space, the loudest person is always the one building continents. Build continents by connecting small islands of mastery. Mastery is quiet, competence repeated across changing conditions. Conditions will change because life respects no blueprint. Blueprints must be adaptable maps, not fragile monuments. Adapt without apologizing for your evolution. The crowd will accuse you of arrogance for no longer needing their permission. Wear that accusation like a medal minted from your former silence. Stillness is not passivity, it is poised readiness. Readiness means you can say yes from power or no without panic. Power is the ability to say no without explaining and yes without begging. A prince with options selects timing, not mercy, as his instrument. Timing makes average choices look prophetic. Patience is how timing learns where to land. Impatience collects cheap rewards and expensive regrets. Collect fewer regrets by letting appetite serve strategy, not sabotage it. If an appetite threatens your sovereignty, put it on a leash of rules. Rules protect your throne from the coup of cravings. Cravings look like kings at midnight and clowns at noon. Let noon expose them, not your mouth. Speak after your cooling off period, so your words dress well. Words poorly dressed embarrass the throne. Every message you send is a messenger from your court. Send messengers that smell of cedar, not smoke. Polish your language until it can open doors without breaking them. The world treats a polished message like a velvet battering ram. Formality without warmth is cold marble. Warmth without formality is wet clay. Shape marble with heat and clay with structure. Structure your days until freedom appears as a byproduct. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility, it is mastery over it. Mastery attracts alliances because competence reduces collective anxiety. Reduce anxiety in others, and they will compete to stand near you. When you don't need anyone, their need for you becomes cooperative, not parasitic. Cooperation built on respect lasts longer than dependence, built on fear. Fear makes followers, respect makes partners. Partners expand possibilities. Followers consume provisions. Provision yourself first with health, finances, and focus. Health is your first territory, guarded by sleep, sweat, and food, with names you can pronounce. Financial sovereignty is your second territory, guarded by budgeting, building, and buying time. Focus is your third territory, guarded by rituals and refusal. Refuse the cheap corridor to novelty when the narrow stairway to mastery awaits. Novelty is sugar, mastery is bread. Eat bread daily, and sugar, when earned. Earning novelty makes it taste like a festival, not a crutch. Festivals are celebrations of finished cycles, not interruptions of them. Finish cycles, and people will plan calendars around you. When calendars orbit you, you do not need anyone to validate your path. Validation is a souvenir from cities you no longer visit. You retired from that tourism when you crowned yourself with accountability. Accountability is royalty's mirror. It tells you the truth without flattery. Look often until the reflection stops surprising you. When you are unsurprised by yourself, others will be pleasantly astonished. Astonishment is the applause of expectations being revised upward. Revise the world's expectations by revising your own first. Expect discipline from yourself and clarity from your goals. Clarity is kindness to your future self. Kindness to your future self is the most Machiavellian move of all, because a prepared future self owes nothing to the moods of strangers, owes nothing, and you can grant everything without bargaining your soul. Your generosity becomes clean because it is optional. Optional generosity is irresistible because it does not reek of leverage. People trust what you could refuse. Refusal proves freedom. Freedom proves value. Value proves gravity. Gravity makes crowds adjust their orbits voluntarily. Voluntary orbit is devotion, not dependence. Devotion survives storms because it was not hired by hunger. Hunger hires fair weather. Purpose hires veterans. Be a veteran of your own battles before you recruit others. Recruit slowly, dismiss quickly, and promote rarely. Rare promotion keeps standards from corrosion. Standards speak louder than slogans because outcomes translate them fluently. Hold the line, and the line will hold your legend. Legends grow where lines are held across years, not days. Years will test your solitude, the way fire tests iron. If you do not warp under heat, you will ring when struck. Ringing is the music of integrity, echoing through pressure. Pressure introduces you to yourself without press releases. Meet yourself often enough that strangers cannot introduce you to you. When you are no longer a stranger to yourself, the world becomes hospitable. Hospitable does not mean easy, it means navigable. Navigate with the compass of values and the sextant of metrics. Measure what matters and ignore what flatters. Metrics without meaning are mirrors in a funhouse. Meaning without metrics is a sermon without a schedule. Schedule your meaning into the hours you can control. Control your hours, and the days will imitate you. Days that imitate you become a life that admires you. Admire the life you are building, and watch others. Request blueprints. Give them principles, not dependency. Teach them to stand, not to lean. When they can stand, they can choose you from strength. Choice from strength is the highest compliment a leader can receive. Receive it with humility, because arrogance is brittle. Humility is not self-shrinking. It is reality-based confidence. Reality-based confidence does not need a crowd to feel tall. It stands tall because its spine is made of verified work. Verified work is the only armor that does not rust in rumors. Let rumors die of boredom when you refuse to feed them oxygen. Breathe instead into tasks that upgrade your sovereignty. Each upgrade quietly recalibrates how the world approaches you. Approach determines outcome before words are exchanged. Arrive with the energy of someone arriving from purpose, not from panic. Panic sells cheap. Purpose buys wisely. Buy wisely with your time, and your attention will earn interest. Let interest compound until your presence writes invoices no one resents paying. These invoices are trust, loyalty, referrals, and reverent silence when you speak. You did not chase these. You built the conditions for them. Conditions are the architecture of desire. Design conditions where your absence is felt and your presence is treasured. Treasure is guarded by gates and guided by rules you authored. Authorship is ownership, and ownership is the opposite of need. Need is a hole. Ownership is a well. Drink from your well and pour into others from overflow. Overflow makes you generous without being manipulated. Manipulation dies where self-sufficiency lives. Self-sufficiency is not isolation. It is interoperability with dignity intact. You can partner because you can stand alone. Standing alone makes partnership a strategy, not a survival tactic. Strategy attracts equals and discourages parasites. Equals amplify, parasites deplete. Choose amplification, and you will become a lighthouse, not a leech. A lighthouse does not swim to ships. It stands and the ships steer closer. Stand, shine, and let the fog explain itself. In the end, everybody wants you when you no longer audition for anyone, because the world desires what demonstrates it, does not need the world. You are not cruel for refusing codependence. You are careful with your crown. Carry the crown lightly, but never set it down to be liked. If they require your throne as a stool for their ego, escort them out. Your court is for builders, not beggars, for students, not sycophants. Let the students become partners, and the builders become kin. Kinship forged from strength can endure what flattery never could. And as your fortress fills with allies who chose you freely, remember the lesson. Everybody wants you when you don't need anyone, because you finally need only the truth. The truth is simple, sovereign, and silent, and it makes you magnetic without trying. Be simple in your wants, sovereign in your choices, and silent in your leverage. Then watch as the doors you once chased open of their own accord and wait. They wait because you turned yourself from applicant into authority. And authority, when it is earned and calm, is the rarest luxury of all. Wear it quietly, live it daily, and let the world decide to belong. You did not beg them to come. You built something too solid to ignore. That is how a prince becomes a presence, and a presence becomes a legend. And legends are loved most by those who understand they were never for sale.